Very satisfying. Hoppa! There we go. Oh god, I'm still wearing my sunglasses. Okay. Oh. Okay. I need it. Oh god. I need to get one of those like glass attachments for the top of the bottle. So it looks like a glass, but it's not actually a glass. Amber! Hello, hello. First one of the party. Cheers. Oh, that is not. That's for the wine. There we go. Oh, I should probably preheat the oven and shit. It's going to be super interesting for a hot second, Amber, while I wait for people to show up. But if you have any questions before we get started, feel free to let me know. I'm not doing anything. Just drinking and reading. I like how it says 2 garlic cloves, except they sent me 4. So I think that means that I need to use 4 garlic cloves. That sounds about right. Where does that go in? Hold on. Oh, it's for the sauce. So of course I need to use 4. Well, they're not all like, there's 1 big one and 2 normal sized ones and 1 like little piddly one. So that means I'm going to use all 4, of course. See, this is another thing that I have to mash stuff. Damn it, we should have brought a fucking... Should have bought a masher. Put that on the list. I'm going to write that on the list. Well, there's a potato ricer thingamajig on the Amazon, whatever.
You're a masher, but Amazon.
Yeah, it's... Potato. Okay. I can spell. Super enthralling right now.
2 people. Oh, yeah.
2 people. You're one of the 2 people.
So good at this.
So mostly I just stand here and drink and talk to myself until more people show up. I don't even really know what the right amount of people is. I just kind of, I guess 4 maybe. I don't know. I don't know how many people I usually have because I don't really pay attention to it while it's going. I'm super good at this, Amber, I promise. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. People will come on when they come on. Okay, so for Amber and Larry. Yay! I know I posted up a little earlier, and yes, it's backwards, and I apologize, but I'm not actually sorry. This is what we're making. Thyme and rosemary roasted pork tenderloin with apple cider pan sauce. Super fancy. Oh, see, there's more people. Hello. Pan sauce and broccoli mash. Though it doesn't really look like a mash, it just looks like chopped broccoli, but I guess you can make anything sound like anything if you name it something fancy. Wasn't there, like, there was a post or something that was trying to describe, like, a peanut butter and...
chicken. No, this is chicken.
Oh, chicken nuggets. Or, like, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's just like it's a grape reduction sauce with a something or other. I don't know.
Or you need
peanut puree or what? I don't know. It was fucking hysterical. And absolutely how I would describe a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Okay. Hello, guys. Oh, wow. That jumped real quick. Hi, Sarah. Okay. So I'm going to preheat the oven to 375 degrees. 1 second. Okay. That is preheating. Bring a medium pot of generously salted water to a boil. You know how I love my generously salted water. So salty, just like me. Okay, so I already have water in there because I wanted to do like a little bit of prep work first, so you guys aren't here all fucking night. So they don't really define exactly what generously means, but I'm basically just covering the bottom of the pot.
That's pretty generous.
Super, so generous. Magnanimous, even. Okay, does it say... It just says to a boil. It doesn't specify temperature. Okay, so this is going on the stove to boil. I'm just going to put this on, like, medium-high, because this actually heats up rather quickly, and I don't want it to boil before I'm ready with the rest of the shit. Everything else has already been washed and dried. These are my ingredients. And the tenderloins, the pork tenderloins that they send always come, like, super long like this, but my pan is not that big, so I always cut it in half. It also makes portioning easier when I have to plate it, so I can just do, like, 1/2 for me, 1/2 for Larry, and I don't have to worry about just slicing it down the whole thing. Baking sheet and foil. Alright. I go through a literal metric ass ton of aluminum foil in a month because of this. But it's actually really helpful. Like, I know some people use baking pans and just put shit right on the baking pan. Don't do that. Just don't. It's an awkwardly shaped pan. It's large. Just put foil down, rip it off, throw it in the trash can.
Yeah.
I put a lot of effort into being... I put a lot of effort in now to be lazy later. Which I guess works itself out eventually. Prepared means sprayed with something. I use olive oil cooking spray from Giant. Super cheap. Totally worth it. Try to get like an even coat. You don't want it all soggy, but you don't want it to burn. Set that aside. We're gonna put shit on that later, I'm sure. Okay. Okay. Rinse and dry produce, did that. Free the oven. Okay. So I've done most of the prep work. Now we're gonna chop shit. Yay! Playing with knives, my favorite. Stem and mince thyme and rosemary. Reserve rosemary top for garnish. Okay. So, whoop. Alright, so rosemary. For those who are unfamiliar with this herb, it smells like Christmas. Is really the most accurate description that I can make. Okay, so it says we need to reserve the top for garnish, which just means that I'm going to take off like this little bit here, and because this stem is rather firm, I'm just going to cut it. Yeah. Love me a good firm stem. Okay, so we have the top, and that's for the garnish, so this is going to get set aside for the end. The rest of it just says stem and mince. Okay, so basically that just means pull all the leaves off and then chop them up real fine, like.
Real fine.
Real fine. Just do that. Okay. And I have one of those fancy fucking herb puller offer thingies, but it's honestly, it's okay. I mean, I honestly think that it's good to learn to do shit the old-fashioned way because, I don't know, reasons. Get your gadgets, do what you want. Don't listen to elitist pricks like everyone on the cooking channel. Or me. You're gonna eat it, so it doesn't matter what I fucking think.
Salt Bay.
I try to get that in there at least once a stream because I use salt in everything. Try to get it nice and fine. So fine. Okay. So this is the rosemary, like really tiny little pile here. Now we do the same thing with the thyme. The thyme is 8:58. I'm just going to pull this off with my nails because I can. I don't feel like. There we go. So you just kind of hold it with one side and then put your nail underneath. You're gonna get some green shit under your nails, but you'll get over it. Then your hand smells like delicious. Oh, that's way easier. Cool. I love thyme. Thyme and rosemary are probably two of my favorite herbs to cook with.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Smells good. Every time I smell thyme, it makes me want chicken. Like a roast chicken with like vegetables. So good. Okay. So these go. Meow. Where is? I already threw that away. Okay. So the thyme flowers are kind of difficult to mince, really, because they're already really small. So just kind of try to break it up as much as you can. Try to get your knife really, really sharp because with herbs in general, when you're chopping the leaves, if your knife is not sharp or your herbs are not fresh, then you'll end up basically mushing the herbs instead of chopping them into smaller pieces, and you'll end up with a bunch of green goop on your fucking cutting board, and nobody wants that. Okay, so put those in two separate piles. Peel and mince the shallot, which is this beautiful thing. I love shallots. They are awesome. I like them better than onions because... Huh? Oh, Amber, my knives. I know it's backwards and I'm really sorry, but this is the brand. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it looks like Sabatier. I could be pronouncing that completely wrong. S-A-B-A-T-I-E-R. I got them at Bed Bath & Beyond. They were on sale. They have I like them because they're like one solid piece, but the handles are hollow, so they're a lot lighter than a normal knife. And I do have a really nice, like, thick, heavy set of knives on my Amazon wish list for someday. Because when you have a weighted handle, it makes it a lot easier to chop. You don't have to use your hand as much. So it just makes chopping go a little faster, a little easier, and you have a little more control when you have weight in the handle. So the outside of this is a little, see, it's got a little, I mean, it's not bad, but I'm gonna cut it off because reasons. I usually take the first layer off the onions and shallots and whatever. First layer comes off always. Just out of habit. Okay, so now this is what it looks like on the inside. Shallots are like onions, but they have a little more garlicky kind of taste. I'm actually going to bring you down here so that you can watch the chopping action. So with shallots, and I already sharpened this, so we're all good there. I try to show this as much as I can. So I'm cutting, but I'm not cutting all the way to the root. I'm cutting just so it all stays together still. So it's all got these lines like going down this way, but it's still like one piece. So then I cut it like here diagonally. So I'm going like this. So you cut from the top down, like on a diagonal, like meow, meow. And it's still one piece. It's a lot of long strands, so that essentially when you chop down, it comes off in these nice tiny little pieces. And done before I get a chance to cry. Makes it so much faster. Because if you take too long, that's actually what ends up making you cry, is that you're exposed to the vapors from chopping the fucking onions that your eyes start to water. The more you know. Okay, shallots done. Peel and mince the shallots, mince the garlic. Awesome. So I mentioned this a little earlier. The recipe itself calls for 2 cloves of garlic, but they sent me 4, so of course I'm going to use all 4. They sent like two normal sized ones, 1 huge ass one, and then 1 teeny tiny little one, which didn't make sense, but that's fine. So I always smash the garlic flat just because it makes it stop rolling around when you mince it. And because garlic is such a weird shape, I don't worry too much about lining up my chops or anything like that. You just kind of go across the pile a couple times. With garlic, you don't have to worry about like bruising it or anything like that, because it's a pretty sturdy vegetable, I guess. Is garlic an herb or a vegetable? I guess it would be an herb. It's not an herb. It's not a... Well, it is a plant. I don't know. Somebody look it up. Is garlic an herb or a vegetable?
I have no idea.
You, man with internet. Thank you, Sarah. I work on my knife skills. I don't want to hurt myself. Also, I watch a lot of cooking shows on TV. Yeah. Okay. Have the garlic. All that fucking garlic. Twice as much garlic as I'm supposed to have, but really that's how I like to cook. So. Alright. Pat pork tenderloin dry. Did that already. Okay, so it says heat 1 tablespoon olive oil in a medium pan over high heat, or medium-high heat. Rub olive oil on pork and sprinkle evenly with thyme and rosemary. Reserve a pinch for garnish. Okay, so I'm going to take a pinch each of thyme and rosemary, whatever the fuck that is, and set it aside. Okay, so salt, pepper, thyme, and rosemary, and olive oil. So what I'm going to do first is olive oil, because that will create a nice... I'm going to turn the water down a little bit, because I'm not quite ready for it to be boiling, because I still need to prep the rest of this shit. So I'm going to bring you guys over here. Meow! There we go. Take a look at my meat. So I'm going to do a little bit of olive oil. Just like a line. Just get it all glossy, because this will make it easier for the herbs to stay. Okay, so I'm going to start with salt and pepper, because salt directly on the meat will allow it to break down the outside, which will give it a lot more flavor. So do salt, pepper, and then I'm going to do the rosemary and thyme. Because we're seasoning, we're going to do a little bit of a bigger grind, so you can see more of the kernel, and it doesn't just look like a black powder. Press it in. I'm going to take a pinch of thyme here and here and rosemary. Okay. Press that in, flip it over, and I'm going to kind of mop up the extra. There we go. We're going to do it all over again. Salt. So salty. Was that the Xbox? Randomly turning itself on? What the fuck? I don't know what's happening. Xbox is turning itself on for no fuck reason. I don't know. That on top of our fucking power going out all random yesterday. I don't know what the fuck is up with this apartment. Our apartment is haunted. There we go. Time is on my side. Yes, it is. There we go. Okay. Rosemary. Okay. Mop it up. Beautiful. So this is what they look like on top, all seasoned and delicious. Now we're going to bring it over here to the pan. And they said medium-high heat, so I'm going to turn that motherfucker up. And then I'm going to go ahead and crank this up to a boil. Okay. Okay, well, I can drink now while I'm waiting. Cheers! If you guys have questions, let me know. About anything. Okay. I need like a colander.
I would like some wine.
You would like some wine?
Yeah.
I suppose I can share some wine with you. I need a tall person though.
I am a tall person.
Fortunate! Can the tall person retrieve a glass from which to drink the wine?
You get like a sippy cup.
You will not drink wine in a sippy cup in my house.
Damn it. You have flash.
You heathen. That's why we have step stools. Nobody saw that. Here.
Grazie.
Prego.
Sheriff Flack would like to know, what is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything?
The answer, Sarah, is 42. Except actually I read a thing where it was like, it's not actually the answer to... 42 isn't the answer. The answer is like whatever you think it is or whatever you make of it. Or some... It was super deep. It was super deep. And I totally applaud that. Okay, this is definitely warm enough. So, I'm going to bring the meat to Mohammed, I guess? Even though he probably didn't ask for it, that's fine. Alright. Olive oil. So there's olive oil in the pan and there's olive oil. Ooh, yeah. Crackety. So if it crackles as soon as you pour it in the pan, you know it's hot. Okay, so hot pan, sear until golden brown on 3 sides. 2 to 3 minutes per side. Transfer to baking sheet. Okay. So we're going to start. Yeah. Try not to touch it after it hits the pan, because you want to give it a nice even sear. And I'm actually going to throw this little bit in. This is the tail end, the tiny little itty bitty end. Waste no meat. Throw it in there too. I'll add that to taste just because reasons. So 2 to 3 minutes per side. So I'm going to let this sit for a few minutes while I clean off the board. Now. Yeah. Hey, Mom. Yeah, I'm doing it a day early because I've got stuff to do tomorrow. So I figured I would not leave my fans wanting. But thank you for coming on to join. Always wipe down the cutting board after raw meat has touched it before the cooked meat touches it later, because this one has the grooves. So this is the meat cutting board, so all the juices can collect and whatnot. Groove the groove. Actually, funny story, the voice actor that voices the old guy from Emperor's New Groove, the one that gets thrown out of the window, that's like, I threw out the Emperor's Groove, the rhythm of which he lives his life. It's the same dude that voices Piglet from Winnie the Pooh. So now every single time I watch that movie, all I can see is Piglet going, the groove, the groove. And I can't unsee it now. Okay. So, it's been probably about 2 minutes. I'm just going to check the sear. Okay, so, because I'm doing this backwards for you guys. That's what the sear looks like. So it's pretty goldenish. And I'm going to let it sit for another minute or so. Needs a little more brown. But while that sits, I'm actually going to do the broccoli. So I'm going to crank this bitch back so it boils and get the broccoli over here. The bowl of broccoli just came exactly like this. I just rinsed it off in cold water. So when this is boiled, I'm going to put the broccoli in there and then drain it. Fran! Cheers. It smells so good in this kitchen right now. These herbs are amazing. I like really fragrant herbs. Like, you want to be able, you eat with all of your senses, so you always want to take stuff into account, like smell, taste, how it feels, like the texture, everything. How it looks, your presentation, all of it. Okay, so the tiny piece is done. This little itty bitty taster piece. So I'm going to set that on the board to rest. The other bits, that is a much more goldeny. Sorry, the light's kind of shit right now. There we go. So I'm going to turn this over on like kind of the side. Because it says 3 sides, but there's actually only 2 sides to this. So, and I'm actually going to put a little more olive oil in. Just like a splash right in the middle. Because I want both sides to sear the same way. So I want them both exposed to oil. I'm going to roll it in. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to go for another couple minutes. Perfect. This is boiling now, so I'm going to go ahead and put these in. When you put in stuff into a pot of boiling water, you kind of want to dip in the bowl into the water kind of while you're doing that, because otherwise you're just going to plop stuff right into it and then you get hot water in your face. Nobody likes that. Quick and dirty dishes. Super hot water and soap ready to go here. I cut this so you can taste it. Okay, so the cook on this is, let's get better light. There we go. So it's not really pink. It's like a really light sort of beige-ish pink in the middle, but it's mostly like tan colored. Fucking shit, that's good. Okay. There, you gotta try this. Fuck yeah. So good. Okay. Wash that back over here. Dana, hello love. I know, I eat dinner super late. I'm gonna kind of rotate this on the side. Get the sear all the way around. So you guys can kind of see what this sear looks like so far. Got this kind of gorgeous golden brown color. So mostly what a sear does is it caramelizes the outside of the meat so that you get a seal on the outer skin. And then once you get a seal on it, then you can cook the inside however you want. And it seals in the flavor. Or so they say. Okay, so I've got the color on the pork. So I'm going to turn off the heat. And bring this over here. And I'm going to set this down. Yeah. Yeah. So these are going to rest. And I'm actually going to pour a little bit of the oil on here to give it a nice little glaze. Cool. So it says wipe the pan, clean, and reserve. What the fuck? Wipe the pan, clean, and reserve. I don't know what that means. Okay. Broccoli is going 5 to 7 minutes. So it's about 9:20 now. So 9:25, we're going to pull the broccoli out. While everything else is going, I'm going to make the sauce, because we can't make the mash yet because the broccoli's not done. So return pan used to sear pork to medium-high heat, 1 teaspoon. I don't know why they bother telling me to use 1 teaspoon of olive oil. Like, I'm going to fucking stick to that. Olive oil, garlic, shallots to hot pan, and cook until fragrant, 30 seconds. So olive oil, garlic, and shallots are literally the base for most really good savory dishes. So get yourself some, learn how to cook with them, put it in fucking everything. Especially if you're cooking with meat. It's really, really good with meat in general. Okay. So we're going to turn this back up. We're going to get some more olive oil in the pan. And it's already like kind of crusted. I don't know why they told me to wipe it out because I think that's bullshit. But I'm going to get the olive oil in here so that we can get some of these herbs off the bottom of the pan. Shallots in. Okay. All this fucking garlic in. Okay. Kind of move it around. Where's my hot tiny spoon? And because this is a red copper pan, the shit is not going to stick to the bottom, so I can get all of the brown shit off the bottom of the pan pretty easily and incorporate it in there so you get flavor from the pork into the sauce. Which is why I thought it was weird that they wanted me to take that flavor off the pan. How dare they? Okay, so this stuff is getting kind of browned, little golden color. I'm which is what we're looking for, and it's definitely fragrant. So, next, cornstarch with apple cider in a small mixing bowl, add to the pan and bring to the simmer. So I don't know why they're having me add apple cider and cornstarch together first if I'm just going to put them both into the pan. So I'm going to add the apple cider first and then cornstarch after. Because I do what I want. It's my kitchen. So apple cider. Hell yeah. So much garlic. Okay. Apple cider. And something with acidity like cider, when it hits the pan, it does what's called deglazing the pan, which means if there's brown shit all on the pan from whatever you cooked before, then it takes that stuff off. So I'm just going to add the cornstarch to the... Seriously? Well, I would. There we go. So the cornstarch does kind of like flour does when you add it to stuff, is it's going to thicken it into more of a sauce-like consistency rather than just a broth type deal. Just going to stir that in. Okay, get this out. Always do dishes while you cook. Saves you so much time in the long run. Okay. Reduce 2 minutes. Okay, so reduce is pretty much self-fucking-explanatory. Cook it until it cooks down in size. So right now, this is how much of the pan this is taking up. So we're going to cook it for 2 minutes until it takes up less of the pan. It's really, really simple. And as it cooks down, it's going to get more concentrated, so the sauce will thicken up as well. So we are 1 minute before we need to take the broccoli out, for those keeping track. And because we need 2 tablespoons of evaporated milk for the broccoli mash, and the rest of it goes in the sauce, I'm going to set it aside now before we need it. So we have our tiny little can of evaporated milk, and I've already taken the top off for you guys. You don't have to sit here and watch me open a can. And I have my tiny little, this is 4 tablespoons or a 1/4 cup, and it's got both measurements. I got this at fucking Giant. So I'm going to measure out 2 tablespoons, so halfway. This is for the broccoli when it comes out, so I'm going to set that here, and the rest of it goes in sauce. This is definitely already thickening a little bit. So we're going to add, but it's, I think my pan is rounding out a little bit.
Amber thinks it's a cute little measuring cup.
Thank you, Amber. I love the tiny measuring cup because there's so many times where I need like a 1/4 cup of something or less than a 1/4 cup of something or tablespoons of a liquid measurement. You'd be surprised at how many times you need liquid tablespoons of shit. And I don't want to sit there with a fucking tablespoon and do this shit. So I just got one and I use it consistently. So easy. Okay. Simmer until sauce is slightly thickened, 2 minutes. So I'm going to turn this down to a simmer, probably about 1/4 of the way. And to keep this even, I'm actually going to set this bitch up like that. So I've propped this up ghetto style on a little bottle to keep the pan even because it seems like it is rounding out at the bottom and I don't want this to cook unevenly. So it is now broccoli time. Yeah. I like it when a recipe flows seamlessly so you don't have to worry about dead air. Strainer. Love this fucking thing. Okay, oh no, come back. I can't see through the steam. Come back. There we go. Hot. Okay, and I believe, because we're making this a mash, this has to go back in the pan. Drain florets in a colander, shaking off, blah, blah, blah. Return broccoli to the pot. Okay, cool. Meow. Rinse this off, hot, hot water. Do your dishes as you go. Ain't nobody got fucking time for dishes. Goes here. Butter in here with the broccoli. And evaporated milk. So, and this stuff. So rinse that out. Hot water's hot. That's good though. The hotter your water, the better it'll be for everybody, including your hands. Okay, so my dumbass didn't buy a fucking masher like I wanted to, so I'm gonna have to use a fork. So this may take a minute. I apologize. But hopefully, yeah. Okay, so the broccoli's cooked down enough that it's pretty easy to mash for the most part. I'm just breaking it down into little pieces. Vegetable mashes are a thing that you definitely want to learn how to do, because for anybody who's either on a diet or... oh, I just realized that these needed to go on a fucking pan and into the oven and not on a fucking cutting board. Because I'm smart and I read ahead. So, we're going to stick this in the oven for 12 to 15 minutes. Okay. We're going to call that 13 minutes because I like to do it somewhere in the middle. Okay. So, anyway, for anybody who's on like a diet or has dietary restrictions, I'm doing keto stuff right now, which means as little amount of carbs as you can possibly stand. Learning how to make like alternative shit is going to be a godsend. I started to love cauliflower. I'm used to fucking hate cauliflower growing up, unless it was like smothered in cheese, which doesn't count. Yes, it's a vegetable, but it is not even remotely healthy for you. So I learned to make mashed cauliflower like potatoes, which is super delicious with like some garlic, also with thyme and rosemary, and a fuck ton of butter, which probably negates the whole healthy part, it being cauliflower, but that's fine. You pick your battles, right? Okay, so this is what my mash looks like. Hang on. Or the buttery. So this is what the mash looks like. It's like green slop. Salt and pepper, I believe. Mash until ingredients are fully incorporated and consistency is to your liking. Season with salt and pepper. Perfect. That is not it. This is it. All right, we're going to do this again because reasons. Salt and pepper, and we're going to take the grind down a little more fine because this is going in something rather than just seasoning the outside for sear. When you have a thicker grind on spices, like pepper, for example, ground pepper, anything that you grind, bigger grind on it is going to give you more of like a crust. And if you have a smaller grind, it's better for incorporating seasoning into a food like a mash or something like that. So that is basically done. Okay. So, back to the sauce. This has cooked down quite nicely so far. I know it says 2 minutes, but I'm going to take it up a notch. Hey, Amber. Yes, please, send me all of your fucking tricks. We do... Most of the stuff that we do for Home Chef, we try to pick the meals that are like keto friendly or really close to it. And I try to stick to like lunch and breakfast at work and stuff. I do like an apple and eggs for breakfast. And I just re-found the Atkins like meal replacement shakes or whatever. Mostly because they're chocolate shakes and they're actually really good. And also because I am way too lazy to be making lunch for myself at work, and it's way easier to just grab a fucking shake. I've only got 30 minutes. I sit at my desk most of the time. Dana can attest to that. It's way easier for me to just grab a shake. But if I do feel like making lunch, usually it's something really simple like a salad or a sandwich or something like that. Okay. So I'm going to give this sauce another minute or so. It's starting to thicken, but it could go a little more. I like my sauces to be thick. I don't like to run all over the place on the plate. So I try to reduce it down as much as possible without making it too thick, like hardened up. Yeah, broccoli's good. Actually, it's good time. Tissues are dry. You cough. Well, the plates will be hot. So I do dishes usually right before I do a stream because I want to have clean dishes, and we usually go through them fairly quickly. But you always also want to do, if you don't do dishes right before you cook, you should definitely do them right after you cook, because literally the last thing anybody wants to do is dishes. So you should make that as easy on yourself as possible. And in the meantime, so the sauce is pretty much done. So what I'm going to do after I finish filling my wine glass is take the sauce off the pan, and I'm going to put it in a bowl, and I'm going to rinse the pan out and put it away. This really looks like I'm pouring more wine than I actually am because I'm holding this for a while, but it's just not a lot is coming out at once. I promise. So I'm going to take this off the stove. So this is what the sauce looks like now. So it's much thicker, more of a sauce consistency, and less of the liquid cidery consistency than we first started. And what I'm going to do is, since the pork was actually resting on this earlier, after it cooked down, after it seared down, I'm going to take some of the pork juice and put it into the pan. Mix it in with the sauce. It's so delicious. Okay, mix that in. Okay, now we need bowl. Oh wait, I just did dishes. This is a good size. Yeah. Finding the right size bowl for stuff is like just kind of an ongoing thing that anybody who cooks ever is always doing. It's definitely better to use a bowl that's bigger than you need than one that's smaller than you need, but I'm sure over time you get familiar with the volume and size of things, so you know what to put where. Okay, so here's our sauce. That's really hot, sorry. Oh, that's really good. And it also wants salt and pepper, so, which I didn't put in there while it was cooking, but that's fine. I do a really, really fine grind for sauces because I just want the flavor. I don't want this chunky, unless I want the sauce chunky, in which case you can do a coarser grind. Just mix in the salt and pepper, and it's still really warm, so it's still kind of cooking a little bit while it's in there. Wow, that's fucking good. Man, whoever comes up with these recipes at Home Chef, like, keep fucking doing what you're doing, because these are just excellent. Home Chef, I will say, though, is very heavy on the sauces and, like, glazes and shit like that. So if you're looking for, if you like the recipe, but maybe it comes with, like, demi-glace, demi-glaze, however the fuck you pronounce that, because it comes spelled with the weird C, with the, whatever you call it. The sauces themselves probably have, like, a lot of sugar or salt in them. So if you're looking to eat a little healthier, you can either use less sauce, like you don't use the whole fucking, all of it on top of your food, or just maybe make a different sauce, depending on how much work you want to put into it. Okay, pan is away. One less dish that I have to do later. We've got 5 minutes left on the clock for the pork. Yeah. So I could sit here and I could muse with you guys, all 2 people who are still here. Ooh, thank you, Amber. Arrowroot powder. Okay. Can you find it at Whole Foods? That's what I'm asking. I assume you can. If it's organic, then I'm sure I could track it down somewhere. When in doubt, I could just buy it on the internet, I guess. I'm always in a good place to add new shit to my repertoire. I'm gonna check on the pork. It is bubbling nicely. We've got about, okay, we got 4 minutes. Awesome. So what is everybody doing tonight on this Thursday besides, you know, watching me eat and drink and pretend like I know what the fuck I'm talking about? Larry is hunting dinos. If any of you guys play Ark, I'm sorry.
Why aren't you?
What are you killing?
Something terrifying.
Something terrifying? Is it a Dodo Rex?
No, but it's right by my fucking base.
How'd it get there? Are you gonna die?
No. But I am out of arrows. And I am out of fucking all my tranquilizers.
So
there's a fucking Alpha Gigantosaurus right by my goddamn base.
So running time is now.
Oh, shit. I have nothing to take this down with.
Larry's gonna die.
Oh, no, I'm gonna lose fucking everything.
Oh, Amber, tell your cat I said hi. So tell us, Schaefer.
Yes. I'm gonna die.
What is going on?
Terrible things are happening. Terrible things are happening. All the horrible things. Let's see if I can get my...
What are you writing?
I'm writing a giant T-Rex. I'm going to see if I can get...
That ass, though.
Stuff back.
Waddle, baby, waddle, baby, waddle.
Do I have my stuff up here somewhere?
You're so cool, honey.
I know.
Okay. 2 minutes. Awesome. This is the best part. Waiting is the best part. Ooh, I know what I can do with 2 minutes. Hang on a second. Let me see who's watching. Who is here? I know Amber is here. Larry's here. Who the fuck else? Show me. It won't tell me. Hi, guys. Okay, well, what I can do is something that I haven't done yet, which is fuck around on the pole for a hot second. So we'll do that. Because there's nothing else that I can really do with the food at this current time. I'm gonna wade through the fucking mess that is my living room. I have a minute left. Okay, I can do one thing on the pole. 1 second. I have to move my fucking coffee table because my living room is small. Tiny but fierce. You can see here the D&D table that our fucking power went out yesterday. So the guys came over and played D&D in candlelight. Legit old school style. It was epic. Okay, so how long do I have? Okay, I've got like 10 seconds. Alright, I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I think, oh god, it's so slippery. I don't know. There we go. It's so slippery! Okay, so I think I'm just gonna hang out here. I'm sliding. I'm sliding. Oh god, I'm sliding. Oh, and there it is. Okay, so I did a pole thing and a chef thing at the same time. Oh god. Thank you. That's a way to kill 2 minutes. So that means the pork is done.
Oh,
yes.
No, God.
Are you gonna die?
Damn it. He is literally in my base.
He's gonna kill all your things.
Yep, there goes my Yankee.
Oh no. Can you not kill it?
Nope.
Sounds like you need wine. Okay, oven is off. Okay, so I need to rest the pork 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so we'll have more time to fuck around. So this is what the pork looks like coming out of the oven. It is all golden. And this is why I try to follow the recipe as much as possible. Because they're pros, they know what they're doing. So we're gonna rest this on the the fucking board. And I've already sharpened my meat carving knife. It's a long, glorious thing. Which means I can wash and put away the other one because I don't have to cut anything else. It's hot. Hot, hot, hot. Like a cat, just... Cool. That's warm. This is gonna go back under the oven. In that drawer that nobody actually knows what it's for, but some say it's a warming drawer and some say it's a storage drawer, I use it as a storage drawer. Because I don't bake. At all. Okay. Well, that was eventful. So now we've got... not that many. We'll do 5 minutes. For these to rest, and while that's going on, I'm actually going to go ahead and prep the plates for presentation stuff. So basically what it looks like is here. Yeah. So you've got the sauce around with the broccoli mash in the middle and the pork on top. So what I'm going to do, it says spoon the sauce onto the plate first, but I actually much prefer the way the sauce looks on top. So I'm going to put the broccoli on the plate first, and then the pork, and then the sauce on top, and then the little rosemary garnish shit. Shaking it up. Get your light together. I look like I'm in, like, Shadow, like some awkward villain movie. Meh, okay. It's upside down. Okay. Broccoli, then pork. So I need this trusty fucker. Why is it so oddly lit over here? So lit. Okay, So this has like a nice little divot in the center, so I can break up mash of whatever variety. I'm gonna put this right into the middle. And you don't have to be super precise about it at first, because I usually, as long as it's not soupy, you can be kind of blasé about where you place stuff at first, because you can always kind of move it around as needed. But if it's really soupy, you want to try to be precise, because it'll bleed all over the rest of your fucking plate, and you can't get it back to the way it was before. Okay. Sink. Wash the dish. Three minutes. I'm washing out the pan so I don't have to do it later, because I've got time to kill. Awesome sauce. Okay, so for the broccoli, get this out of your way. So what we're gonna do is just kind of corral it together in this sort of like football shape. And smush it down flat, because the pork is gonna go kind of over top. But I want it to have some semblance of shape. And you just kind of experiment with random shit around your kitchen. If you want to get molds, get molds. I am personally looking forward to the day that I learn how to use fucking ring molds properly, so that I can get some really fancy shit going. Usually wipe the plates down as I go, just because for pictures I want everything to look, you know, nice and pretty. Perfect. 1 minute left. It's amazing the things you can learn to do to kill time. Where is... Oh, my wine! Where did I put my wine? Oh, it's on my bar. Never leave home without it. Okay. Prep the sauce, because the sauce is going to go right on top of the pork while it's still warm. And I've got my rosemary bunches. I've got 2 little sprigs. There it goes. Off. So now I can cut the pork. And we will see exactly how this turns out. So I'm going to cut this at an angle. That is the tongs. Okay. That's one. Do the other one. Perfect. Oh, that turned out really nice. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys from the inside. Flip you to the other side. What this looks like here while the light is, there we go. Okay, so there's no pink in the middle at all. It's all this, you know, tannish color. but it is not overcooked. I can see like the juices coming out, and that's a good thing. So what I'm going to do is lay this on top. Yeah. There we go. And then this one, try to keep it all together and then move it at the same time so that it all kind of maintains a shape. It's a lot easier to sort of readjust it once it's up on the plate than it is if you try to put it in like individual pieces, unless you're doing like some really fancy design. There we go. Okay. That is that. And I will rinse hot water. Do not put your knives in the fucking dishwasher or I will cut you. Wash them off in super hot water and soap if needed. And store them in the knife block. Putting that shit in the dishwasher, for the most part, will make them rust. Because they will sit in the dry mode or whatever with whatever residual moisture is left. And they will rust the fuck out of your blades, which will defeat the purpose of having knives in the first place. So just take 5 seconds, rinse it off, scrub it real quick. Do whatever you gotta do. Cool. Now we're gonna do sauce. So I'm gonna get an actual spoon, like a tablespoon, to do this because I need precision. I'm not gonna use all the sauce. I'm just gonna use enough to cover it and take a picture and then probably put the rest of the sauce on it afterwards, to be totally honest. There we go. Okay. And then it has us, I'm mixing the rosemary and thyme that we kind of piled together earlier for the garnish. It's kind of on top. Cool. And then we've got our little garnish sprig of rosemary. Meow. And meow. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to flip it around so you guys can see exactly what this looks like. Meow. Good. And these actually both look really fucking good. So I'm going to take a picture of one of these. The other one I am actually going to go ahead and cut into, because I really hate it when cooking shows make a food and then they don't actually fucking eat the thing. So I'm going to go with, I'll take a picture of that one. So that means I will cut into this one. Pin it down. Okay. The shear on that is fucking awesome. That ended spectacularly. Okay. Score a win again for Home Chef. Well done. That was the thyme and rosemary roasted pork tenderloin. Epic success. When we get our new box tomorrow, I will put up all the new recipes and stuff so you guys can figure out what I'm doing next week. And then if you guys, as always, if you guys want to get on the Home Chef train, send me your email. I still have plenty of free meals to send out to people. And if you guys have any special requests, either pole or food related that you want to see in the next stream, let me know. and I will do my very best to oblige. Until then, and until next week, PoleChef out.